Days of Our Lives spoilers preview video for the week of June 30th, July 4 reveals that Chanel Dupree Demera will lose it when she stumbles across a chaotic scene in the town square. That's where Jada Hunter just popped up to take Johnny Demera into police custody, so he'll admit to Chanel that he's being arrested for attempted murder. Chanel will be horrified as Johnny gets dragged off in handcuffs, but EJ Demera will have a plan to help his son. It may start with getting Johnny out on bail, since he'll spend some time at the Demera mansion with EJ during the week ahead. "You're not going to do anything crazy, right?" Johnny asks EJ in Days' weekly preview video. Of course, EJ will indeed have a few tricks up his sleeve. Although EJ will assure Johnny that he's going to take care of everything, Chanel will lash out at Johnny's father later. "The way I see it, Johnny has made a deal with the devil," Chanel declares in Days' latest promo. Duel's weekly preview clip also shows Belle Black opening a special delivery containing the memory card, so she'll get tangled up in all the drama. Next, let's talk about Sophia Choi, since she'll make a shocking decision after giving birth alone in her bedroom. "I can't let anybody see you, okay?" Sophia tearfully tells her little one in the preview clip. From there, Sophia's apparently going to leave her baby with the fire department, since Javi Hernandez will take the newborn home to Leo Stark soon after. Across town, Days spoilers say Stephanie Johnson and Alex Kyriakis will land in a tight spot. It looks like Stephanie may mention something from the book that leads Kate Roberts Brady to ask if she's the author of One Stormy Night. However, Alex might jump in and claim he simply let Stephanie read the manuscript. That'd be an easy way to cover Stephanie's blunder, at least for a little while longer. Even if Kate doesn't buy it, she might promise that her lips are sealed. Stephanie's secret will inevitably blow up in a much bigger way down the road, so stay tuned for updates on all the stunning news to come. Days of Our Lives spoilers say the week of June 30th, July 4th will bring some twists and turns. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Monday, June 30th, reveal that Gabby Hernandez and Ariana Ari Horton will put aside their issues for a change. Gabby and Ari have a mother-daughter bonding session coming up, so they'll share some special moments together. Meanwhile, EJ Demera will rush to Johnny Demera's defense now that Jada Hunter has announced he's under arrest for his father's attempted murder. Of course, Johnny just cleared things up for EJ before all this arrest drama went down. EJ was relieved when Johnny insisted he wasn't behind the shooting and that he actually turned the gun over to his dad that night. Unfortunately, someone else got their hands on the weapon and fired a shot before stashing it in the planter outside. EJ can't remember much of anything right now, but he'll still assure Jada that Johnny didn't pull the trigger and will fight for his son's freedom. However, Jada may assume EJ is just covering for Johnny. Days spoilers say Jada will stand by the arrest she's made, but EJ won't like this, and neither will Rafe Hernandez. Rafe pushed Jada to give Johnny the benefit of the doubt and trusted her when he delivered info on Johnny's argument with EJ. Since Rafe trusts Johnny's side of the story, he'll blast Jada for hauling Johnny down to the station. Once Chanel Dupree Demera gets updates on Johnny being taken into police custody, she'll flip out too. Days spoilers say Chanel will blow up at Paulina Price, so she may ask her mom to pull strings for Johnny and fume when there's nothing Mayor Price can do. Chanel and Johnny were just starting to get their marriage back on track, but this arrest news will throw their world into turmoil all over again. As for Marlena Evans and Roman Brady on Monday's Duel episode, Days spoilers indicate that they'll both worry about Johnny's future. The goal was to get Johnny to come forward and explain his version of events before something like this happened, so Roman and Marlena will definitely fret over Jada's bold arrest move. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Johnny will be on a mission to clear his name soon, but he'll need plenty of help to make it happen. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Sophia Choi will have a total freakout when she goes into labor with no one else around. It looks like Sophia will give birth all alone in her bedroom instead of at the hospital like she planned. Duel's preview video for the week of June 30th, July 4th shows a crying Sophia clutching her newborn and insisting she can't let anybody see him or her. Sophia's emotions will be all over the place, so she'll rush into some big decisions that she may end up regretting. Since Sophia doesn't have an adoptive couple lined up yet, she may feel the need to take drastic action. Sophia may worry that if Tate Black meets this little one, he'll definitely want to keep him or her. Sophia might have concerns about Amy Choi pushing for that too after meeting her grandson or granddaughter. Days viewers know Sophia still wants to attend college in the fall and doesn't think she can be a proper mom to this child anyway. There'll be a lot of pressure on Sophia in this post-birth moment to do what's best for this baby and herself. Now that Javi Hernandez is pursuing a career as a firefighter EMT again, dual writers have given him the perfect job for this storyline. Sophia might abandon her baby at the fire station, maybe even in a safe haven baby box if one's available. Whatever the case, Days spoilers say Javi will surprise Leo Stark by bringing home a newborn soon enough. It looks like Javi and Leo will end up taking care of this little one for a bit, though they obviously won't know it's Sophia and Tate's child. Could Leo and Javi even consider trying to adopt this infant they've bonded with? Regardless, Sophia will have a bit of a problem on her hands since Tate will obviously be expecting to meet his son or daughter. That may be why Days spoilers say Sophia will seek Melinda Trask's urgent assistance. When Melinda helped Sloane Peterson steal baby Jude Brady, that required paying off a doctor and convincing Nicole Walker that her baby was deceased. Sophia may count on a similar favor now and ask Melinda to help her fake her baby's demise after this fire station drop-off. Perhaps Sophia will feel like it's the only way to convince Tate to move on with his life. One way or another, Days of Our Lives spoilers say Sophia's going to make a mess after she gives birth, so stay tuned for updates on all the wild news to come. Things are heating up in Salem in the latest Days of Our Lives promo, and we aren't just talking about Stephanie's steamy romance novel. EJ jumps to defend Johnny, who has been arrested for shooting him, while the lines are blurred for Kate in her new job. Plus, Sophia gives birth, but it's what she does next that could change everything. After confessing to his grandparents that he did not shoot EJ, Johnny slipped up and told Rafe he was at the mansion that night. Rafe confided in Jada that Johnny was there, but he believes he's innocent, though he may be the key to leading them to the real would-be killer. And just like that, Johnny was arrested. Coming up, as Johnny hopes his dad doesn't do anything crazy, it appears that EJ does exactly that. Chanel thinks her husband has made a deal with the devil in trusting his father. Belle, meanwhile, receives an envelope containing an SD card. Why do we get the feeling that a recording of Rafe might be on said card? Also this week, alone in her room, Sophia goes into labor, for real this time, and has her baby. In a panic, she cries, "I can't let anybody see you, okay?" Say, does Kristen still have that pillow baby from years ago? Because we think Sophia is about to go there. Finally, Kate accepted a job offer from Alex to return to Titan, not just for Philip's sake, but to honor Victor. Her first order of business was to publish One Stormy Night. So imagine her surprise when she learns her old publicist, Stephanie, is the author of the novel. Read the Days of Our Lives spoilers to find out who shares a sweet mother-daughter moment and which former couple reconciles. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Rachel Black is acting like a traumatized little girl. However, we have to remember that this is no normal little girl. She is the daughter of Kristen DiMera. The child also already has a well-developed history of stalking and kidnapping. So, could this trauma act be just that? An act? Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the Peacock soap opera. First, let's talk about Rachel's history. The little girl already sent threatening text messages to Ava Vitale. Then, when Rachel met her grandmother, Rachel Blake, the two had Ava kidnapped and held hostage. Most children, even the ones who commit bad acts, usually feel some kind of remorse, guilt, or empathy for the victim. We have not seen this at all from Rachel. I'm starting to wonder if we are dealing with a little psychopath, honestly. Ava ended up breaking up with Brady Black anyway. However, Ava soon after disappeared. Fans know that Ava isn't with Wendy Shin and Trip Johnson in Hong Kong like she said she would be. I'm still suspecting that Rachel had something to do with Ava's disappearance. Remember, at the time, EJ DiMera got rid of Rachel's grandmother, whom she absolutely adored and schemed with. Now that Kristen has made a deal with EJ, Rachel Sr. is just fine. However, there is now the shooting to deal with. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Rachel claims to have nightmares about a shooting. The little girl is also mumbling in her sleep, which sets off alarm bells for Marlena Evans. Rachel also told Kristen that she saw Johnny DiMera point a gun at Uncle EJ. Fans know that Johnny confessed to Marlena and Roman Brady. One problem with Johnny's story is he didn't pull the trigger, then handed the gun to EJ. Now there is one bullet missing from Roman's gun. So, that either means Johnny is lying or someone else pulled the trigger afterward. Rachel had stomach aches and headaches before Marlena asked her about the mumbling in her sleep. Rachel gave her story and happily ate cake and ice cream afterward. While everyone assumed Rachel will be back to her old self, what if there is another explanation? What if Rachel who pulled the trigger after Johnny left? Could Kristen and Brady's little girl be responsible for EJ's shooting and is putting the blame on Johnny? Days of Our Lives spoilers for Monday, June 30th hint at some bombshells as another week in Salem kicks off. One father will declare his son's innocence, while a daughter will be mighty angry, and two grandparents worry. What's set to unravel on Monday's show? Time to find out. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Monday, June 30th reveal that EJ DiMera will insist that his son, Johnny DiMera, is innocent. He's the one who's been shot, so he should know, right? Still, unfortunately for Johnny, the evidence proves otherwise. With that said, can Johnny get off on charges if EJ insists someone else shot him? EJ is bound to be very upset about what's happened, but from the sounds of it, Rafe Hernandez will be just as mad and direct his anger towards none other than Jada Hunter. Across town, Chanel DiMera will rip into Paulina Price. Is this about Johnny's arrest? Will Chanel hope that her mayor mom can pull some strings? Will Paulina refuse to do so? Then again, if Paulina supports Jada's actions that led to Johnny's arrest, this could also be Chanel's source of discontent. Only time will tell. In related news, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday note that Marlena Evans and Roman Brady will have concerns. Will their worry center on Johnny and his arrest? Probably. Still, how worried will Kate Roberts Brady be knowing her husband is bonding with his ex-wife? Speaking of bonding, Gabby Hernandez will have a sweet mother-daughter moment with Ariana Ari Horton. What will help bring these two women closer? They have been at each other's throats lately, so it'll be nice to see them on the same page and getting along for a change. Are you excited about Monday's show? Comment below. Check out the popular Peacock soap Daily for your dose of Salem drama and visit SOS, often for the most up-to-date Days of Our Lives, news and spoilers. Another week, another goodbye on Days of Our Lives. Here's the latest comings and goings casting news from the soap. Check out who bid adieu to Salem. Plus, find out if any newcomers are joining the Peacock drama in contract, recurring, or day player roles. Some fan favorites have wrapped up their brief return stints. Matthew Ashford and Melissa Reeves said goodbye to Salem as Jack and Jennifer Devereaux when their characters headed back to Boston. But fret not, they'll eventually be back for another visit. Also on the exit front, Christy Clark is out as Carrie Brady Reed. The character returned to Switzerland to join her husband, Austin, and their son, Noah. Meanwhile, the drama revs up regarding Tate and Sophia's baby, which means more airtime for Tina Huang as Melinda Trask. The actress appears in scenes with Boyd on Thursday, July 3rd, when Sophia asks the attorney for help. Days of Our Lives sees Eric Brady and Nicole Walker in town for the Salem High School graduation ceremony. But of course, we only got to see Eric. But based on some big hints that are dropped, it looks like Nicole and Eric are headed for a split. And the next time that we have Greg Vaughn back to Days, we should see Eric single and maybe ready to mingle. Let's dive into why it looks like Nicole and Eric happily ever after is about to crash and burn, and what that means for future storylines. So, we heard from Holly Jonas that her stepdad Eric and her mom Nicole were at her graduation. But Holly Jonas told Aaron Green they were sitting on opposite sides of the auditorium and not even talking. Plus, Nicole took off right after Holly got her diploma because little Jude was back in Paris with his au pair and he had fallen ill. But Eric stayed in town instead of heading back with Nicole to check on their son. And later, Eric confirmed on a recent Days of Our Lives episode he and Nicole are not getting along right now. But you know what's the deal with that? Is it big stuff? Is it little stuff? After going through the whole ordeal with Eric raising his and Nicole's son, Jude with toxic Sloane Peterson as an adopted baby, Eric and Nicole finally found out the truth about Jude. They left town together as a happy little family unit. And since then, Eric has returned briefly, like when Brady Black was going through the ordeal of thinking he ran over Sarah Horton and paralyzed her while he was driving drunk. But then Eric left town again to go back to be with his true love, Nicole. But now she and Eric seem to be on the outs. And I mean, to be fair, they are a long-time on-again, off-again couple. But they did seem so happy last year when Nicole and Eric said goodbye to family and friends, left Salem, headed to Paris, France with baby Jude. So, now we're at this point where we have to ask, is the Eric and Nicole era finally over for good on Days of Our Lives? So, some recent episodes of Days definitely tell us there's an estrangement building between Eric and Nicole, and soon it could get much, much worse. First, Eric showed up by himself after John Black was injured in the explosion and ultimately died, but no Nicole not being there to support her husband. And former priest Eric officiated at his stepfather's funeral, stuck around for his stepdaughter Holly's graduation, and he also officiated Paul Narita and Andrew Donovan's wedding with no word about why Nicole didn't attend any event except for the graduation. They could have said she was sitting off to the side, or they could have done something to make it look like she was there with just off-screen mentions. And Holly and Eric both told people that Nicole wasn't sitting with Eric at Holly's graduation ceremony. So, it's words getting around. And the thing is, there's just probably no hope for Nicole's return to Days of Our Lives unless they recast the role. By now, unless you are living under the proverbial rock, you probably know Ari Zucker is suing Days of Our Lives. She filed the lawsuit. Gosh, it was like February last year, or was it the year before? So she's suing NBC, several executives, the executive producer, a former producer and director, and it's all about alleged harassment and inappropriate behavior behind the scenes. Many of these allegations related to now fired producer and director Albert Ayler. However, the lawsuit also accuses the powers that be, and I think Sony's part of it basically, of having no HR, having no intimacy coordinators to protect actors, ignoring accusations about behind-the-scenes behavior, and especially behavior that resulted in allegedly poor treatment of the soap opera's actresses. And we know a lot of them got cut in just a firing fit that again was allegedly tied back to Albert Ayler. And all these are allegations, but because of the lawsuit, they're not going to bring back Ari Zucker as Nicole. TV shows do not contract with actors that are actively suing them. Right or wrong, they just don't. And they don't even hire actors that have sued other networks in the past. If an actor sues, that can kill their career opportunities everywhere. And producer Ken Corday is a named defendant in the suit that Ari Zucker filed. So, barring some divine intervention, like a literal miracle, Ari is not going to be playing the role of Nicole again. And that means that these mentions of trouble with Eric are likely foreshadowing an Eric and Nicole split, because I think they would handle it differently if a recast was coming. I'm not even sure the fandom would accept a recast of Nicole given the outrage over the backstage harassment allegations that already got one producer fired. I've seen a lot of comments on soap social media debating this whether they should recast, but most people seem to be against it. So, the simpler solution, obviously, is breaking up Eric and Nicole so he can come and go and pursue other love interests. It's not something new for Eric and Nicole to make up and then break up. Those two have been up and down for many, many years. But then Eric and Nicole finally got their miracle baby, thanks to drugged biscuits from Chanel Dupree's bakery, Sweet Bits, and cheating on their respective partners. And then the whole divorce situation with Sloane and Eric, and then EJ DiMera and Nicole, that was a rough road because they were just being very difficult about it. And for a while, EJ flat out refused to give Nicole the divorce. So, in the end, Eric got this great job offer to be a photographer in Paris, so he and Nicole took off. Holly visited them a couple of times. We've got plenty of off-screen mentions, and now those mentions have turned into the happy couple not being so happy. Also, it looks like Eric may be in Salem more frequently now. He is part of the Big Days of Our Lives 60th anniversary celebration airing in November. So, is that the point we're going to find out they broke up? Maybe one of them had an affair. Saint. Basien. Eric is generally pretty loyal to the women in his life, but Nicole has a history of flings and infidelity. So, she's also always felt like she wasn't quite good enough for Eric, so maybe there's more serious things happening, and that's why Nicole wasn't sitting with Eric at the graduation, because Holly could have said they were together at her big day, and then Nicole had to fly back to Paris for the sick baby. They didn't have to make anything about a potential breakup. So, Eric's been pretty tight-lipped. But maybe he'll confide in Marlena Evans why he and Nicole are having issues. Or Holly could tell Tate and Aaron about what she knows about their fractured relationship. I know that a lot of fans would just like to see Eric and Nicole be happy, even if it's off-screen. But other fans think that if Eric's going to keep coming back, that Nicole should either be recast or them broken up. Ari Zucker is the only woman who's ever played the role of Nicole. And that's why I just don't think we're going to get a recast, and we're definitely not going to get Ari back. And don't forget Sarah's split from Xander Cook right now. She and Eric once adored each other. So, they could push Sarah to Eric, at least until she and Xander reconcile, which seems inevitable. Eric's other ex, Jada Hunter, is currently single, but in the 60th anniversary photoshoot, she was doing pictures with Sean Brady. So, a Jada-Eric thing doesn't seem likely. I do love Greg Vaughn. I would love to see Eric back to Days of Our Lives on a more regular basis, even a full-time basis, even if Nicole's not going to be with him. So, drop your comments. Do you want them to recast Nicole? Or just let this breakup thing with Eric happen, since clearly Ari is not going to be back days? Right off the bat this week on Days of Our Lives, we saw a fun scene where Kat was on the phone in Horton Square, and we saw the feet of a nicely dressed man creeping up on her. As if she had ESP, she sensed it. It demonstrates that her skills as a former ISA agent are still sharp. Turned out it was Shane who confirmed, "What? No hello for your old boss?" We learned that Kate was a former ISA analyst, and he basically told her she had no choice but to go back to work for them. This is going to lead to some cool stories. But one of the big things this week was that we finally got an explanation about Johnny's involvement in EJ's shooting. Roman and Marlena confronted him and asked him point blank if he did it. Roman mentioned that he knew Johnny had taken his gun that night. Essentially, Johnny went to the mansion, pointed the gun at EJ, but ultimately couldn't pull the trigger. He gave the gun to EJ and left. Somehow, somebody got hold of it and used it to shoot EJ, then dumped it in the planter. Roman noticed that one bullet was missing when he found it. The plot thickens. Also, Johnny and EJ got closer to reconciliation. Johnny revealed to EJ that he wasn't the one who shot him. EJ was saddened, confused, and happy all at the same time. When Johnny realized the lengths his father went to in order to protect him from getting charged with attempted murder, you could see his attitude toward him soften through teary eyes. Then they hugged, and it was an outstanding moment. The other big thing was Rafe encountering Kat, who was at the ISA meeting spot. He introduced himself as her new partner. I was like, wait? He joined the FBI, and they're working on an interagency task force. They're looking into how EJ was able to fund his offer for the hospital, suspecting that he used illegal funds to do so. It was great seeing Philip and Xander come to a tenuous ceasefire. Xander claimed to have felt sorry for losing control, and Philip wanted to get their father's company back on track. I'm glad they were able to get past Xander's egregious blunder. And now, Philip's going to be on his guard all the time. But hopefully, they'll work well together once again and might actually truly become brothers. Maybe they needed Philip to screw up with the whole Versavix thing, and Xander to beat him to a pulp, for them to realize they're stronger if they're united. One nice thing was the wedding of Andrew and Paul. It was bittersweet because John couldn't be there, but it was a happy, uplifting time after the iconic hero's demise. No one got shot or gassed, and no explosions went off, so I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Paul got to wear John's treasured watch, which was a nice touch. It made Marlena happy to know that he was wearing something his late father loved. But afterwards, Shane offered Paul a job in DC so he and Andrew could be close. I'm hoping that means we'll get to see them more and watch them work together with Kat and Rafe. And despite Xander's best attempts, the hospital board approved EJ's proposal. However, the week ended with Johnny getting arrested because Rafe shared his intel with Jada. Oh no! Alex told Stephanie that they could publish her book under a pseudonym. She asked him if he thought they could really keep it a secret. It's a soap opera. The secret won't stay secret for very long. EJ said to Johnny, "If you didn't shoot me, then who did?" A question that will take some time before it's answered. With Johnny now a prime suspect, folks are going to have to act fast to clear his name. I wonder if whoever shot him is connected to the dude taking photos of Doug's women friends. It's doubtful, but if they're that good at taking bribe-worthy pics, maybe they took pics of the shooter at least. I love how John and Gabby are standing there at Gabby Chic, having a brainstorming session. Wouldn't you want to sit at a table so you could take notes? I mean, I know it was an informal meeting because Johnny walked in and explained to her that he's now in charge of that division. But come on, Nicole was mentioned as being at the wedding, but we didn't see her. What's the deal with that? They need to rehire Ariane Hanu Zucker. Her character growth was amazing, and it was nice taking the journey with her. We got a brief shot of Gabby standing outside the DiMera mansion, hearing EJ and Johnny talk. Even though there's a whole foyer between the door and the living room, you could hear them as if they were just on the other side of the door. I know it's a nitpick, but really, folks, it seemed like a lazy plot device. They weren't yelling that loudly and were a whole room away. Xander told Alex that he considered him the Hand of the King. This was a term used in George R.R. Martin's series, Game of Thrones. According to a fan on Quora, the Hand appears to be a person who can sit on the throne and act like a king whenever the king is off having fun, in a brothel or on a hunt. It didn't exist in real life, but in medieval times, there weren't prime ministers, so this position was somewhere between that and the king. Johnny was being very pragmatic and frugal with Gabby Chic's budget. That made me think that the filmmaker in him has studied famed director Roger Corman, who made millions by shooting his films on ridiculously low budgets. His creativity was so good that his movies are still loved generations later. Alex referred to Johnny as Little Fincher, which I assume is a reference to director David Fincher. He's well known for the films C7 and Zodiac, among many others. In a flashback, Johnny's holding the gun at EJ and says, "Isn't it obvious? I'm here to kill you." That reminded me of the Doors song, The End, released in 1967. In it, a killer is walking through his house and comes upon his father. It goes, "And he came to a door and he looked inside." Father, yes, son? I want to kill you. Creepy, but every time we see that flashback, it's what I think of. Philip told Xander about how Kate explained that the guard in his room got mysteriously sick, walked away from his post, and Xander entered the room. Xander called it a coincidence, and Philip replied, "And was it a coincidence that when I woke up, you were standing over me holding a pillow? Certainly not trying to make me more comfortable." He then made the kind of face one makes when they talk to a dog using a kitty voice and said, "You were gonna smother me, weren't you?" Kat was explaining to Shane what she went through after the accident that Clyde caused. "I was almost killed," she said, adding, "Do you know how many surgeries I had to go through to reconstruct my face? To rehabilitate my entire body?" He replied, "Oh, of course I do. The ISA footed the bill." Shane and Kat were talking about John, and she remarked that while she hadn't met him, she knew he was a great man. Shane replied, "Oh, the world is a darker place because he's not in it. That's why the rest of us have to step up in his absence." Jennifer told Thomas that Uncle JJ probably had better things to do than play games with his parents and nephew. Thomas said, "No, he doesn't. Gabby dumped him." As we joined our hearts together now, and for all the days of our lives. That's what Paul said when he was putting the ring on Andrew's finger, and it was another self-referential line. They seem to do that every couple of weeks or so. Xander briefly spoke with Melinda about hiring her for his custody suit. He tried getting her to think outside the box and even asked her for a Melinda Trask special. That just speaks for itself. Gabby and Johnny tried figuring out how to work without a budget. She said, sighs, I swear, ever since those two morons took over, they've been out to get me. It's like they want Gabby Chic to fail. The morons she was hilariously referring to were Xander and Philip, obviously. When EJ tried getting Kayla to call off the vote redo, she said, too late, sorry, not sorry. I laughed out loud at that. At one point, Philip said to Xander, fraud and attempted murder are not the same thing. He's not wrong. There were two good reactions this week. In the first one, Rachel inadvertently said Johnny's name when she was being probed about what she saw the night of EJ's shooting. And Marlena said, what does Johnny have to do with this? Whoopsie! Next, Johnny and EJ both had great reactions when each realized that EJ thought Johnny shot him. Johnny was suitably horrified by the accusation, and EJ was tremendously shocked and relieved when Johnny said he didn't do it. Tony returned at the top of the week, so hopefully we'll get to see the Count get embroiled in a juicy storyline. So now it's one secret on top of another secret, as Philip's not going to reveal to Sarah that he's the one who told Xander that she knew all about the forgery. Are you keeping score? There was a cool intercutting scene where Sarah was talking to Justin on the phone, and Xander was talking to Melinda. They were talking about going for full custody of Victoria. And the conversation intercut between Sarah and Xander, who were essentially having a nearly identical conversation with their attorneys. That was very creative and made the scene more interesting. And think about it. It saved a little time because we didn't have to watch Sarah's conversation only to have it repeated with Xander. It was so cute when Sarah allowed Xander to see Victoria, who's now almost 3 years old. It was nice the way he talked to her and made her smile. This might be a sign that reconciliation is not too far down the road for them. I'm very excited about the fact that Kat's being pulled back into the ICE. She's almost like an older version of General Hospital's Jocelyn Jacks, who's a rookie spy and is navigating her way through keeping a dual lifestyle. I'm looking forward to seeing what adventures she goes on. Ultimately, what I would like to see is Kat saving Salem, and Jack and Jennifer realizing what she did and changing their tune about her.